This is everything you need to know to escape Elite Division in Fortnite. Kicking it off with the off spawn. If you don't know already, once you're in the higher divisions like Diamond and above, you will literally gain hardly any points for placement. This is because any points you do gain just pays back the bus fare, and yes, there is a bus fare in Ranked, and I'll expand on that a bit more in a minute. But in Elite Division, you are a good enough player to fight off spawn, so I recommend you land at a POI and look to pick up at least 1 to 2 kills off spawn. I put together this map with every single POI on the map and my rankings. Green means I like the drop but think it's a very good drop spot. Yellow means it's a bit boring of a drop spot, but really, if you enjoy landing there, it won't be as contested as the green spots. Orange means it's not that great, but if you know how to play it, then it can be an alright spot. And red is just Eclipse Estate. I personally just hate that place for ranked, and I just recommend people to avoid it. I'll put the link in description for the map, so you can view that in your own time. But as I mentioned a second ago about bus fare, so every single time you go into a game, you actually get bus fare taken away from you. How much is taken away from you depends on 2 factors. 1, your rank. The higher rank you are, the more points you're going to lose. I think most people already know that. And 2, how you performed in your last game. If you don't know already, Fortnite added a consistency bonus into Fortnite Ranked. So if you place first in your last game, you will lose a lot less bus fare to the guy who just died off spawn because Fortnite deem you as a better player in your rank. It's pretty much in place to stop the better players staying in the wrong rank, which can explain why sometimes you may lose like 25% for a death off spawn. Other times you can just lose like 5%. Now moving on to how you should play in game. I mentioned how that consistency thing is important, and this is massive when it comes to playing in elite ranked lobbies. We need to ensure we are not dying off spawn, which is why all my green highlighted spaces are bigger drop spots, because there is usually a front and a back side to the POI, and I have a little trick to make sure you're winning off spawn. Right, so for this example that I'm going to show you, we're going to pretend that the bus path is coming over Shady here and goes all the way through to Steamy Springs like this, and we're going to use the POI Mega City as a perfect example for this. So most people, when jumping off the bus to land to Mega City, are going to jump anywhere between this dot here all the way up to maybe even up to like around here, just depending on obviously how good people are with drops. But this pretty much means that when people are gliding in, they're going to open up their gliders somewhere around this part here. So when they come to the POI, they're going to be coming in at this angle. This means that most players are going to land here. Why is that? Because most people will have lower drops rather than having higher drops. Now, if you want to land on the contested side, then this building here is going to be your best shout. But what I recommend, if you want to live off spawn and just avoid dying in Mega City, land at these back buildings here. These buildings here are going to be a lot less contested, as most people are going to have low drops, and all you have to do is just open your glider a little bit early, have a look, see what angle you're coming in from, and then just maybe open your glider up if you have to, and then you can land towards this backside. Now, if you do actually have this bus, this drop here, like this building, will make this even greener to show this is the best building you can possibly land at. Has a little bit more loot than these 2 buildings here, and it's near enough guaranteed to be uncontested. Every time I land there, it is always uncon. By utilising this tactic, we can make sure we're landing at the dead side of the POI, so we can have a little bit more time to loot up, and then we can go towards the fight rather than the fight coming towards us. And this will help you win off spawn by a massive amount. Before I get into fighting, I just want to explain roughly, as far as we're aware, how ranked works as a whole when it comes to winning and losing point. Now, we're aware that the whole rank mode is a very advanced mechanic, so it took me a lot of time to research all this. So I did countless games of testing things, testing all the placements, etc., to see what information I can tell you guys. So I mentioned when you get into a game, a bus fare is taken based on your recent performances, but you're probably wondering, how do I get the placement? Now, once you land, placement is given out based on how many players are left, not based on how long you live. So it makes no difference if you reach top 75 players in 2 minutes or 5 minutes, you'll both be awarded the same number of placement points. Based off all the old ranking systems, placement is more likely given out in the main placement milestones, similar to the way it's given out in tournament. So in solos, you're most likely to gain points at top 75, top 50, top 40, and then it will go down in intervals of 5. So we're talking top 35, top 30, top 25, and so on until we reach top 10, where you will be awarded points from every single position, including points for the win. So once you get to around top 15, this is why I recommend to people you really need to start playing for them placement points. So I mentioned the placement points and how they're awarded, but the kill mechanic goes even more complex. So you actually gain points based on damage dealt to players that die, rather than kills. But for an example, if I deal 150 damage to a player and that player does not die, I will not gain any points for that player. So it's not done solely off damage, it's done off damage dealt to players that die. So I recently had a load of comments of people saying, oh, I dealt 500 damage and I lost points. Why is that? That's because you dealt 500 damage to players who lived. This mechanic was added into the game just to stop kill stealing so much, because obviously third parties are a big thing, and it just stops players who do all the damage not being able to get any kills. So a little example for you guys, if I deal 50 damage to you off spawn and little Timmy Gamer 45 deals 50 damage, rather than giving little Timmy Gamer all the points you got the kill, we will share those points, making it fair for both players. Then we also know how you get points based on rank. So the higher rank a player is, the more points you gain. I'm assuming this is a times multiplier. So for a normal kill, someone who is the same rank as you, so if you kill a player who is in elite rank, I don't know, maybe 2% rank points will be given to you. But if you kill someone who's maybe a rank higher, then there might be a ×2 multiplier. So you will actually gain 4% and so on and so on. So normal kills, someone your rank, you will get less points for a guy who's a higher rank. This just rewards you for killing those higher ranked players and actually makes it easier to escape Elite Division. Then finally, we know that you gain points based on how many players are left, because Epic Games told us this, so I'm assuming, again, this is a times multiplier thing. If you kill someone between 100 to 75th position, you'll probably gain no extra point. Then if you kill someone from 75th to 50th place, there might be a 1 times multiplier. Then from 50th to 40th, 1.2 times, and so on and so on. So you gain more points based on how many players are alive. So if you see a big milestone coming up for placement, maybe 76 players left at the moment, it may be worth dragging out that fight a little longer just for those extra points. Stop the video right there. I was looking at the back end of the YouTube channel, and 96.7% of people who watch my videos frequently are not subscribed. So I have a small favour to ask you. If you've ever enjoyed or found any of my tips helpful, or ever watched my videos, enjoyed the content, please can you hit that subscribe button and support me as a creator. It helps the channel more than I can explain, and I'll make you a promise in return. I promise I'll make my tips and videos better and better and better each video, and that's a promise I'm willing to make you. Anyways, thank you for supporting the channel. Enjoy the rest of the video. Moving on to mid-game, I think this part could be a bit tricky for some players, because you think, do I W key? Do I play passive? If I'm a good fighter, what should I do? If I'm not such a good fighter, what should I do? Because there's so many points for them kills in the mid to end game. Ruling them out completely and saying, no, you shouldn't go for them would just be silly, because we know how many points are there and we're going to need them to escape elite rank especially. As you're going to need that loot for endgame. If you think you're a better fighter and you're going to win most of your mid-game fights, you should look around to fight people and start fight. Try and get a big tag on your opponent before the fight, then build up and get high ground. If you think, maybe I'm not so good at fighting in mid-game and I don't back myself to win most of my fights, then in that case, you should look to third-party fights rather than starting them. So wander around the map until you see people fighting, then look to sneak in and steal a kill or two. Since Siphon went, third parties are the easiest way for good players to die, especially to fighters that are not so good, because usually under the pressure of a third party, it just forces them better players into making a few silly mistakes, and then they take a lot of damage and you can come in and just clean up. And finally, onto the end game. The end game is a bit more complex, because this is where you get rewarded the most for them kills. But at the same time, you don't want to die early on, like top 10. Because of how many points there are, I recommend once it gets to top 15, or somewhere around there, just to start playing a bit more passive. Avoid forcing fights and just be careful with the fights that you're taking, and just be smart. because I've just thrown so much information at you, I'm going to show you all this in an elite ranked game now. So I've just given you a load of tips, so I've decided to hop into an elite ranked game, and I'm going to show you all the tips into one game and walk you through exactly how you should play. So first of all, we're not going to land at these first spots on the bus. As you can see, like Brutal Bastion and Shady Stilts, these are going to be the most contested spots on the map just because they're first drop. Now in ranked, a lot of people don't really care and they're just going to hop off at the first main POI that hops up. So if we landed Brutal Bastion this game, I promise you it will be megally contested and the chances of you surviving is super low. So we're going to go to the one and only Frenzy Fields. It's a good drop spot. I think it's in my green as well on my list. I do quite like Frenzy Fields, and what we're going to do is we're going to land towards the back. This would be the perfect building for us to land at if we don't want to fight at all, but obviously, me being me, I want one of the main buildings, so we're going for the yellow house. Get yourself a nice good drop, and if anyone lands on the house, I can just hop on them straight away. I think we've bullied everyone away. So once you've picked up some loot, you need to make sure at your drop spot, you've got like a little area where you can go to and farm a total of 500 materials across all three categories of wood, brick and metal. So what I mean by that is having across these three categories, you've got at least 500 materials, whether that's having 500 wood or if you got 300 brick, 100 metal and 100 wood. You just want to have 500 total. So what you'll see right now is that I've actually got 400 and I've just hit over the 500 mark across all those three together, and now I can go back to looting again. But because I've got decent loot now, I'm going to come towards the aggressive side and I'm going to actually look to try and start a fight. So I see a guy here. You first of all want to get hopefully a big damage shot on them to start the fight off. That's a big pot gone. If you spray in different like bursts as well, a lot of the time players will start medding and you might be able to get a free little tag on them. Now your goal should be to get high ground. Every single game at the start of the game, your goal should be to get high ground at the start of the fight. This is why we need so many materials, because people will start trying to build up and your goal is to hold height. And there we go. As soon as you got high ground, it is the other player's responsibility to go for a play on you, or otherwise they're going to be at disadvantage, which is why you can get really easy kills once you're on height. So this guy's got to go for a play now, so we're going to go a few different layers up. There we go. He's decided to drop. There's his mistake, and we can just look to hop in his box now, and that's a free kill. I said this in my diamond video as well, don't be afraid to get into people's boxes. Once you've got that health advantage, most people are not going to be thinking straight, and they're going to make a lot of mistakes and just silly plays, and hopping in their box really does just mess with what they're trying to do, and you'll even kill like some of the best players through just hopping in people's boxes, I promise you. If you watch the way pros die in rank to like, especially people that aren't the greatest fighters, a lot of the time it's just getting a big health advantage and then just hopping in their box. Because there's literally nothing you can do when you're sat on like 20 HP against a guy's 100 hopping in your box. Like, it's literally impossible for them to do anything. She waited around the radar tower. If you know you got one of these near your drop spot, wait round it, because if you actually kill these people as soon as they spawn in, it means obviously other people aren't going to key you straight away, and it also means that you're going to be able to get yourself a slurp juice, which is literally the most broken med in the game right now, alongside obviously the pizza party. Right, so in mid-game, if you are a better fighter, then go out and look for the fights. Go and start the fights on people. If you're maybe not so great, then what you should do is back off a little bit and then just look to third-party fights instead. So, like I'm saying, see, I'm on high ground. This guy's forced to make a play. He wants high ground, but he can't get it. Look, he's forced to make this play. So he really wants that high ground because it's the best place to try and heal when you're on height. And now the third party's here, which is going to benefit him a lot. So we're just going to look to try and hop into his box. So now the third party's here again. We're just going to look to try and get onto the high ground, because this will be the best place, especially for me to med as well. Looking like this guy's just trying to dip out. See if I can shoot him out the sky. And there we go. There's a little 200 damage out the sky for you guys. It's a nice little treat for you all to see right there. Little 200 out the sky. You know how we do it. It's funny, the guy's just added me as a friend as well, so I think he's going to probably join the lobby and accuse me of hacking, because I'm not going to lie, that aim was just a little bit sus out of the sky.
I'm subbed to you, by the way.
Oh, I love that, let's go.
I was watching like how to get out of a diamond pro, I think it was.
Yeah, that was the video. Right, so once you get to this point in the game where it's like a little bit later on, you want to be a little more picky with kind of the fights you take, because obviously, like I'm saying before, there's a lot of placement up for grabs in these spots here. So dying like really early on, like 20th place, is going to really punish you hard when it comes to how many points you're going to be getting at the end of the game. So at this point, you kind of want to go towards dead side of the zone. So for this zone, it's over here. And then if you're going to start fights, you want to start fights in the dead zone where there's not going to be many people, and you can kind of just have a little bit of a more one-to-one fight rather than having 5th and 6th parties all over the place. Now, the island has actually just spawned. If you think you're a better player and you can win it, 100%, why not go for the island? But for players that are maybe not so good, I kind of recommend to sort of back off a little bit, because it can get like really bad, like the fights up here and like third parties and stuff. But if you're gonna go for it, come up onto the high ground, similar to sort of like an off spawn fight, like what we do in all our off spawn fights, where we go up for the high ground and we wait for them to kind of make a bit of a mistake. So there we go, there's the mistake coming in from this guy, and then we can kind of get a little more aggressive. This is full metal, so I just need to keep hitting things. 120. And then, there we go. We managed to pick up that elim, and now we'll be able to hopefully take the island. It doesn't look like anyone else is wanting to come up for it. Again, if you're coming to take this island, you need to treat this fight kind of a bit more like an off-spawn fight just later on in the game. Go for high ground, force the player to box up and make a mistake like that guy did there. And then you can easily just take the island. Now, if someone was to come up now and go, they want the island, my first goal would be just to build up and get the high ground again. Leave this island thingy, focus on the fight, and then focus on capturing the flag and getting all the loot from the island. So there are currently just 12 players left in this lobby, so I'm going to kind of just let it die down a little bit more in this situation, because again, there's a lot of placement points up for grabs. There's also someone gliding as well, so I should get on top of this house just in case. For those of you that are maybe not so great of fighters, just kind of sit out a little bit in this part and just kind of let the lobby die down just a tiny bit, and then you can look for those kills a little later on. So now I'm just going to go look for kills because it's top 10, and I do think I've got the loot to literally kill everyone in the lobby. So I'm just going to go for as many kills as I can get late on, because this is the best time to kill people. I'd rather get 3 kills here than get 6 kills off spawn, because you gain so many more points for getting a kill this late on in the game when it's top 10. So we've got another player with charge. We're going to wait for him. He's going to look to try and piece control because he's got the charge. Alright, now we can look to get a little more aggressive. It's looking like he's just... There we go. And we managed to pick up that elim nice and quickly. And I'm pretty sure if there's people fighting over here, I can definitely go and pick up these kills. Yeah, we just got to be careful with zone coming for this fight. That's all we got to be careful about. See if I can get a tag on them so I can get some points. So this guy's got to come towards me, and I've also got the broomstick as well to rotate the zone. Now, you just got to kind of think everything through what you're going to do so late on, because dying now is obviously not ideal, especially if you've got decent loot. You've just got to kind of think what is the best way to play this. I think from here, I'd probably be best just to go zone and avoid trying to get tagged too much. Alright, so I've obviously been tagged a fair bit. I'm just going to put that. This kid's like mega zero ping, so I need some damage back on him, or he's going to just keep aggressing me. There we go. So as soon as I get a little bit of counter damage, he kind of just leaves me alone. And that's what you need to do if someone keeps aggressing you. Make space and look for that counter damage, or they're just going to aggress and aggress and aggress until you're dead. This game's not looking too great for me right now. I probably should have rotated a little bit earlier just because I've got a bit of a poor position, but I think I should be alright. Get to zone nice and early. And I'm just going to box up here and get my meds off. Just keep coming back a bit. Keep running. It's probably the worst position I could be in right now. Oh no, I've gone down 6th place. It's unfortunate. It's very, very unfortunate. I ran out of mats. Made a few mistakes along that game towards the end, but let's see how many points we've gone up from that. So we've gone from 26 up to 38%. So obviously Elite Division is tough because unless you're really getting them wins, you're not really gaining many points at all. But as long as you're playing games like that, you're being consistent off spawn, you're going for height, you're not dying too often too soon, you're going to keep getting those points. And a 10-point game here, a 10-point game there is eventually going to get you them consistency bonuses, and before you know it, you're going to be picking up 15-20% and you'll get a win and you're out of Elite Division just like that. So just focus on this division being consistent. Anyways, that's going to be the end for this video. If you did enjoy, please hit the like button and subscribe if you found any of this useful, because it helps the channel out more than I can explain. If you like this video, you may also like this video on screen now.